order. Will everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The New Jersey Open Publics Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Cedar Grove Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be advertised by having the date, time, and place thereof posted on bulletin boards in the district, published and are transmitted to the Verona Cedar Grove Times and Star Ledger newspapers, tap into online news, filed with the township clerk, and posted on the district's website. Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiChiara.
Here.
Mr. Pavulovich.
Here.
Mr. Schoner.
Here.
Mr. Mandela. Mrs. Dye.
Here. The meeting is open to the public for comment on items on the agenda. Okay, so, Mr. Scanlon, you had requested that the meeting be public, so if you want to make a statement or anything like that, now would be the opportunity if you wanted to say something. Okay, got it.
So just to clarify, if anybody has a comment about any item on the agenda, including appointments or anything like that, then this is the time, sir, to express your comment.
Mr. Palmer? And anybody who's coming up, just please state your name and your address for the record, please, and just speak into the microphone so everyone can hear you.
Hi, good evening. My name's Anthony Palma, 249 Cedar Street. I have to say it's been a little while since I've been up here at this microphone. I think the last time was when I was presenting the school budget. Some of you I know, many of you I don't, but just to give you some background, I've spent about 9 years on the Board of Education, so I think I have a good idea of some of the things you're working on and some of the challenges that you have. One of the topics tonight is about the renewal of the contract for Coach Scallion, and I want to express my support for the coach. I think that he has done a fantastic job over the years. My daughter has had the opportunity to be on the varsity team with the coach, and she has done a fantastic job, and I owe much of that to his guidance, his leadership, his devotion to the team. I can only say good things, and I believe there are many students that have had the opportunity over the years to work with Coach Scallion, and those lessons will stay with them for a lifetime. And I want you each to know on this board that he is a valuable asset, not only to the team, but to this community. And I urge you to renew his contract without hesitation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to make comment at this time?
Can I just ask, is there, if people do not get to speak, is there going to be a vote tonight concerning this?
Yes, so it's on the agenda. It's one of the last items on the agenda. So now would be the opportunity to speak before the vote. And then after the vote, at the end of each meeting, there's always the opportunity to speak about items on or off the agenda. But if you wanted to make a comment on something prior to us voting, one has to, yeah. And just state your name and address, please, Mr. Green.
I'd like to start with a song. My name is John Green. I live at 52 Howard Drive, and I have known Coach Scans now for 3 years. I knew of him longer than that. I can concur with the last speaker as far as saying that I think that he is an asset without any question, not just as a coach, but just as a human being to all aspects of my daughter's life and her friend's life. So my daughter, though she comes from very good stock as an athlete, she has improved dramatically in the short time that she's been with Scans. I'm Coach Scanlon. I, again, have nothing but great things to say about him, and I'm hoping that everyone tonight that's voting will vote in the affirmative. Okay, so that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anyone else in the back? Yep, absolutely. Go right ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sabrina Palma, 249 Cedar Street, Cedar Grove, New Jersey, obviously. Okay. So I met Coach Scallon about 7 years ago when I was trying out for the travel basketball team in 8th grade. The first night of tryouts, I ended up spraining my ankle. And that same night, Coach Scallon called my house and told my mom that he wanted me on the team even though I was hurt and was unable to play in the second day of tryouts. My mom was very hesitant, but Coach Scallon reassured her that I would be able to handle the team and handle the schedule. From then on, Coach Scallon worked with me to make me the best player I could be. I probably would not have continued to play in high school if it weren't for him. I would be up here for a long time if I were to explain how much he has contributed to my success over the past 7 years, not only as a player, but as a person. I would like to take the time now to thank him because I truly appreciate all that he has done. I am sure many of his players will agree with that. As a coach, he was always willing to spend the extra time and go the extra mile with players to improve their game. He never discouraged us to come and talk to him if we didn't agree with something. He pushed us to work hard and motivated us when we felt defeated after losing a game. There are many coaches out there that only focus on winning. And yes, Coach Scallon does like to win, but he also cares about each and every one of his players. He never failed to go above and beyond for us. Even after I graduated, he continued to check in on me, asking how school was, and help me get into contact with different people for internships. He guides his players to make smart decisions. Personally, I would not be graduating from Quinnipiac University next year and continuing to get my PhD if he didn't help me in the decision process when I didn't want to listen to what my parents had to say. I cannot say enough good things about him. You don't just want a coach who cares about the games. You want someone like Coach Scallon who gets to know his players and can have fun while still working hard. It would be a mistake not to renew his contract for someone who does so much for this community and so much for his team. Thank you.
Absolutely. I get it. It's scary. Are you kidding? It's totally scary. It's scary now, and I've been doing this for 7 years.
Karen Rom, 46 Brunswick Road, Cedar Grove. I just want to start off by thanking you for giving me the opportunity to speak on Mr. Scallon's behalf. The last time I was in front of people speaking kind and genuine words about Mr. Scallon was at the end of the year basketball dinner, and I never thought the next time I would be speaking on his behalf would be in support of him continuing to be the head basketball coach at CGHS. Mr. Scallon has basically coached me since the 8th grade, when I was at St. Catherine of Siena School. Mr. Scallon has a drive to make his players better before they are even his players. He always supports the basketball programs, even at the lower level, which allows him to gain our respect early on. Now, majority of the people going to the high school come from the middle school, but Mr. Scallon made sure I was just as recognized as he came to many of my games at St. Catherine's. He guided me to the right path, which was Cedar Grove High School, where I continued to play all 4 years. My freshman year, I was ecstatic to be one of his starters, but unfortunately the season ended early for me due to a severe knee injury. Soon after my injury, Coach Scanlon had pizza delivered to my house and the whole team over to support me. Through all my injuries throughout my 4 years, he made it possible for me to still feel like I was equally a part of the team, just as everyone else. He allowed me to scout with him and help out at practice when I could, and not because he couldn't do the work himself, but because he knows me well enough to know that I would love to do that. I have not met another person who puts as much time and dedication into something. I can honestly say that he truly cared about us learning the game of basketball. Although I was dedicated to the sport, you would not have found me at Bowden as much as I was without Scans constantly setting up small shoot-arounds or scrimmages just to make us better. The amount of time he puts into basketball is absurd, but what makes it special is he does it for us. Although basketball season is what seems like the longest season, I never looked forward to the season ending. And I know people on other teams wouldn't be able to say the same. When you have a coach that loves the game that much, it really drives their players to love it that much more. I cannot thank Mr. Scanlon enough for all he has done for me throughout my 4 years, whether it was on and off the court, and I am honored to be able to speak on his behalf in his support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jillian Goldberg. I'm 30 Yorkshire, Cedar Grove, New Jersey. I'm by far the oldest player standing before you today. I have known Scanton since I was in 7th grade, so what are you, 13? I'm 22. I just graduated college. Playing for Scans is building character, becoming an adult, working hard, making sure. Obviously, Cedar Grove basketball isn't the NBA. I think I was like one of the tallest players in high school. But we always worked hard. He always cared about us. I stayed in constant contact with him and Dina since then. With all through college, he contacted all of us, all of the players in my grade, which obviously we're plenty of years out. So just keeping us involved and engaged, and really just hoping that he has the support of us, and which clearly he does, because there's so many people here today. So I don't really think there's any questions asked, but that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Scanlon, absolutely.
My name is Bill Scanlon, 32 Bruce Court. I wanted to introduce myself to the board members that do not know me, Mrs. DiChiara, Mr. Privolovich. Just a little background on myself. I graduated from Cedar Grove High School in 1974. Okay, you can do the math. I graduated from the University of Delaware in 1978, and I have coached in Cedar Grove since 1979. Not every single year, on and off. And I've been the head coach of the girls' basketball team for the past 7 seasons. When Mr. Featherman, principal at the time, offered me the position, I said to my wife, I am all in. That means everything, and it's been everything. I love what I do. I love coaching these girls. I put a lot of time in. If they want to get better, they have the opportunity. But it's not just basketball, okay? I go to every other sporting event there is. I've been to their volleyball games, their softball games, all of the wrestling matches that I can make my favorite sport. I love guys that go out there by themselves with nobody else supporting them, okay? I've never missed a musical. I haven't missed a drama. I go to the Christmas concerts. I am the chairman of a scholarship committee, the John Keenan Memorial Scholarship, that awarded $12,000 in scholarships this year to seniors. There are numerous people, current students and graduates, that I have found summer jobs for or permanent positions. I am all in. Okay, I want you to know that. I'm all in. It is incredibly gratifying to see these people here, to hear my former players speak on my behalf, to have some current players say to me how nervous they were, but that if needed, they would speak. And I said, it's not necessary, but incredibly gratifying. I wanted to introduce myself, again, for the people that don't know me. Take this the right way. When I interviewed 7 years ago, I sat across from Mr. Featherman. I told him I was absolutely the best candidate he had for that job. And tonight, I am still the best candidate for that job. Thanks.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Christine Palma. My husband and daughter have already been up here. I live at 249 Cedar Street, and I want to tell you, as a parent who entrusted their daughter to Coach Scanlon, that I could not have had a better mentor for my daughter. He taught her how to achieve and reach for goals and perform at her highest ability. I think that he is an asset to Cedar Grove, and if you did not renew his contract, that there would be many, many young women who would miss the opportunity to have him in their life and to assist them in moving further on. So I want to thank you, Bill, for all that you've done for Sabrina and the other girls on the team over all these years. Thank you.
Anyone else? I see some scared people in the front. It's okay if you want. Go right ahead. It gets easier as you start talking.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Coach Scans.
Wait, your name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Start with the hard stuff. Your name and address. Right?
Okay.
Yep.
My name is Lena Green, and I live on 52 Haller Drive.
Okay.
Coach Scans is someone I met before he was coaching our daughter, and I used to see him in track events and so forth, and I thought, wow, what are you doing here? And oh, I'm here to support. I thought that was amazing, passionate, and how supportive to his girls, even though it wasn't basketball, but I really admired that about him, and I couldn't wait to see what he would do at the basketball games, and all I've ever heard from him is, of people saying about him is, what a wonderful guy he is. Nothing but wonderful things and amazing things. But I got to see for myself and meet him and get to know him. And I'm still getting to know him. And all we've seen is he's so passionate and so loyal. And he's tough when he needs to be. But we're all tough, and we're parents, and we know we need to be tough sometimes. But he shows them love, and he's a wonderful coach. He lifts them up and builds their self-esteem. We can't say anything negative about him. This is the perfect example of how life can be so unfair sometimes. He's a wonderful coach, and I can't say anything else but just wonderful things. And I hope you guys reconsider him as a coach, because even my daughter Jessie, he even shows up to her lacrosse games, and he would not miss one game, and that alone, he doesn't just do it for her, he does it for all the girls. And believe me, that goes so far for them. That matters so much for each and every girl. And the senior girls that left last year, I wasn't even their parent, and I went to every game, even when my daughter was not in the varsity team. I got to see all those games as much as I could. I loved it, and I got to see his passion and how respectful he was to them, and what he did for them was, it's not just basketball. It was just, he taught them how to maybe, take on life, to be stronger people in their lives, and whatever, know how to handle things better in their lives in college and whatever they have to handle in their lives. But I'm just very grateful. Thank you, Coach Scans.
Good job. Mrs. Bauer?
Hi, I'm Bridget Bauer, 47 Rose Terrace. My daughter's the bright red one in the front row. I'm here to speak tonight in support of Coach Bill Scanlon. Like many other people's stories, I've known Bill for a few years now and met him when Molly played for the suburban team. And he would pop up at games, and I would say, you ever meet somebody that you meet him once and then all of a sudden you see him everywhere? That is that is Bill Scanlon. I joked with him last night that I said he's like, and Mr. Schoner, he's hard to miss. I joked with him last night, I said he's like, where's Waldo? You can go anywhere in Cedar Grove and you could probably find Bill Scanlon. He goes to every game. I saw him at Lip Sync. I see him everywhere. And he's there truly because he loves the girls. He loves Cedar Grove, he loves basketball, and he loves these girls. And he is, as he said, all in. So, we don't always agree with everything a coach does or says. But we have to trust them because we're not in the huddle, we are not at all the practices, we don't know what goes on all the time. So you have to trust the coach. You trust him with your daughter's skills, their confidence, their passion for the sport, and that's big because there's nothing more personal than our kids. But I trust Bill Scanlon with my daughter, and I think that means a lot. And everybody else, I think, pretty much feels the same way. So, thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else thinking about it? Needs another moment to decide?
You want to be here till tomorrow?
Not really, but, there might be somebody out there who's debating, but who's afraid, but wants to say something, and so it's okay if you want to. Because I'm going to close this part of the meeting in a minute. All right, so I'm going to close this part of the meeting. I closed it, and so if somebody wants to make a comment at the end, there'll be a time when you can comment on items on or off the agenda, and that will be after we've voted for everything. So we're going to continue on with our agenda, and it's nice to see everybody here, because normally we don't see as many people, but I'm still going to try to move it along because it's summer, and I don't think you really all want to listen to us anyway. So moving along, committee reports. Do we have any? It's summer.
Got nothing.
Have you gone anywhere, Mr. Schoner?
Attaboy.
All righty.
Got nothing.
Okay, well then,
Everybody in the audience thanks you too, by the way. Cut the meeting 5 minutes right there.
so we're gonna move on, but we're not. We're gonna go to our board presentation first. We're doing that first. Fantastic. So we have a special education monitoring report.
Look at their faces like,
I know.
really?
Everybody's excited. You're glad you came tonight. And Mr. Kinney is going to be
Okay.
talking to us.
I'm excited about the crowd tonight.
I know, there's people.
I've never presented this many people.
They're all here for you.
What's that?
They're all here for you.
That's great. That's great. I'll try to put on my best show. All right. Where are we here? We're not up.
Is something covered?
It is. It is.
Yeah, they do that.
There we go. Okay. That was right. So tonight we are talking about the Special Education State Monitoring Report. Out of 566 districts every year, the state chooses about 4 or 5 to go to. This year we were chosen. So I am playing the Mega Millions numbers very often because it's very rare that we would come up for this type of monitoring. So let me give you a brief overview of what it does entail. So it is a 3-day visit. They came June 11th to the 13th. During that visit, they reviewed 33 students' files. They gave us the names beforehand, a day before, so that we could poll them, sat them down in the conference room. They went through. There were 2 individuals from the state. One of them who was the lead, monitor, Owen Buchanan, who I'm in contact with. They come in, and it is of those that are current classified students for special ed and related services, also speech only, graduate students from 2017, and those that were referred but not found eligible. So it's a combination of those, but they did pull 33 students. The process of how it unfolded, they reviewed the files, spent about a day and a half, Spent about a good portion of the next half day interviewing myself. The third day consisted of a south end observation of a classroom. And then they ended up debriefing with myself and Mr. Featherman in the conference room about their findings. And that's how pretty much the process went. They did make a mention and told us to make a mention that the monitoring is for compliance for IDEA components, not so much the quality of programs. They do think we have quality programs. They were very impressed, but they're not there to, monitor that particular thing. They're there for compliance of timelines, documentation thereof. So there were 46 indicators they were looking for, and Cedar Grove had 8 findings, and I wanted to group these into themes. By the way, as I'll get to later, the report will be available online on our website for those that want to see it. Some of the themes are signatures of participants. So one of the things that we continuously have to make sure of is that those participants are there and they're signing those documents. There were a couple of times in whether or not it was current students or past students that some participants were missing on those particular documents. Invitations and notices, even though the parents or people that were supposed to be there showed up, they may not have gotten that that invitation may not have been in the file for the monitors to look at. Again, out of 33, there's 8 findings. And talk about inconsistency, which means that out of the 33, it's not like all 33 files showed that. There might have been 1 or 2, so they can't say consistently that this was being done. Speech timelines for referrals. We try to be proactive, and it kind of came back to bite us a little bit here, where we do kindergarten speech screenings, but the timelines as far as when the student is referred off of that screening compared to when they actually are physically, the parents are met and tested, is a little bit off, so we have to tighten that up. And that's what I've talked to the principals today about. And LRE placement statements. In a portion of the IEP, something called least restrictive environment, there are certain statements. They want them to be a little bit more individualized as opposed to more generic type statements. So they did give us some examples, and we did meet with the board attorney, our special ed board attorney, right after that to kind of get his opinion on how we can tailor those more individually. So those are the themes of those 8 findings. If you want, like I said, it'll be online. You could go ahead and take a look at that. So the follow-up, again, we need to present it to the board, which we're doing tonight. It needs to be posted on a website for 1 year. And then the corrective actions in that report have to be followed. It'll be in that report. The monitors come back in June. So what they're going to do when they come back in June is they gave us a window. They're going to come back and look at particular files from October to January, or those that were given annual reviews or reevals during that time frame. And then from there, they go ahead and make a follow-up report as to whether or not, within those 8 findings, we are now found compliant. One of the things proactively that we are doing, I've already talked to Owen Buchanan, the state monitor. He's coming in the beginning of the school year to sit down with the child study team. I've scheduled time again with our special ed attorney, who will be speaking to the child study team on the first day of school, or on the first day when staff comes back to discuss this, to shore up the plan, and also just a brief oversight of those particular corrective actions that we have to be sure that we are continuously doing. So that was pretty efficient. I know you guys are here, so I'm trying to move through.
Very nice.
Nice job.
Any questions? Any questions? No? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kinney. Appreciate it. Thank you. We need lights. All right. From the Office of the Business Administrator and Board Secretary, before I ask for a motion for B1, I would just like to read something, and I'm gonna. So we all run for the board for different reasons. 7 years ago, I wasn't happy that there was so much kids watching TV in my child's kindergarten class, and so I decided to get involved and try to do something about it, and I ran for the board. Well, I realized that some may not have the best interests of the town and the kids in mind as a reason for running, and maybe they have their own agenda. I can honestly say that the people sitting next to me do, and the person no longer sitting next to me also did. Frank has been an important member of the community on the board for the last 12 years. 12 years is a really long time, really long. Frank has helped this district grow in so many ways, whether it was to help hire the best administrators and superintendent, or helping to pass 2 successful referendums in which he put his heart and soul to get better facilities for the students. The curriculum is so much better than it was 12 years ago, and we are in a much better place. He never stopped fighting. He has been a mentor to me as both a board member and a president. We didn't always agree on topics, but we all approach it from what we think is best, and we fight for that. Frank is one of the most passionate people I know, and if you have him on your side, he will always fight for you. While I had hoped I would be saying this at his retirement from the board with lots of fanfare and cake, because if you can survive 12 years on the board, you definitely deserve cake, unfortunately, I say these things as I accept Frank's resignation. I'm saddened by this, but I respect his decision. I will miss Frank and his sense of humor and, of course, his passion. I thank him for his years of service and his dedication to this district, and he is certainly leaving it in a better place than when he started. So can I have a motion for B1?
So moved.
Second.
B1 is a motion to accept the resignation of Frank Mandela from the Cedar Grove Board of Education effective July 24th, 2018. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiChiara,
Yes.
Mr. Pervulovich,
Yes.
Mr. Shoner,
Aye.
Mrs. Dai.
Yes. Under minutes, can I have a motion for B2 through B6?
So moved.
Second.
B2 is a motion to approve the public and executive minutes of June 12, 2018. B3 is a motion to approve the budgetary transfers for the month of June. B4 is a motion to approve the treasurer's report for the month of May. B5 is a motion to approve the board secretary's report for the month of May. And B6 is a motion to approve the board secretary's certification to the Cedar Grove Board of Education. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiChiara,
Yes.
Mr. Pervulovich,
Yes.
Mr. Shoner,
Aye.
Mrs. Dai.
Yes. Under bills, can I have a motion for B7?
So moved.
Second.
B7 is a motion to pay the list of bills that were in our packet. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiChiara,
Yes.
Mr. Pervulovich,
Yes.
Mr. Shoner,
Aye.
Mrs. Dai.
Yes. Under business, can I have a motion for B8, and I'm going to stop at B17, please.
So moved.
Second.
B8 is a motion to approve the 2018-19 workers' compensation assessment in the amount listed and the insured assessment in the amount listed to the Pooled Insurance Program of New Jersey. B9 is a motion to retroactively accept the generous donation from the North End FSA in the amount listed. B10 is a motion to accept the generous donation from the North End FSA in the amount listed for a grant to Ms. Danielle McLaughlin. B11 is a motion to retroactively approve the location agreement with Great Mustachio Filmworks and the Cedar Grove Board of Education. B12 is a motion to retroactively approve the location agreement with Ugly Productions and Helm Media. B13 is a motion to approve the location agreement with The Patch and the Cedar Grove Board of Education. B14 is a motion to approve SSP Video LLC's proposal for the 2018-19 school year to film 12 scrimmages, Cedar Grove High School football games at the cost not to exceed $1,620. B15 is a motion to approve the location agreement with Lion Television and the Cedar Grove Board of Education. B16 is a motion to approve the location agreement with L2 Productions and the Cedar Grove Board of Education. And B17 is a motion to approve the acceptance of the preliminary eligible cost letters from the New Jersey Department of Education for the amounts for the below projects. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiChiara,
Yes, I abstained from B9 and B10.
Mr. Pervulovich,
Yes.
Mr. Shoner,
Aye, but I abstain from B11.
Mrs. Dai.
Yes. Can I have a motion for B18?
So moved.
Second.
B18 is a resolution providing for a special school district election to be held on October 2nd, 2018, Be it resolved by the Board of Education to the Township of Cedar Grove in the County of Essex, New Jersey as follows. A special education of the legal voters of the school district shall be held on October 2nd, 2018, between the hours of 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. in the school district at the schools and places for the purposes herein provided. Any discussion?
No.
And just so everybody knows, this is a referendum that we're going out with that will be voted on October 2nd for safety and security upgrades at all 4 of our schools. And we've obviously talked about it at previous meetings, and we'll obviously continue to talk about it, and we'll continue to publicize it, and you'll find us at your FSA meetings and everywhere else, and I'm sure we'll also have a special meeting to talk about it one more time with the public, so everybody's aware of how important this is and why we need it to pass. Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiChiara,
Yes.
Mr. Pervulovich,
Yes.
Mr. Shoner,
Aye.
Mrs. Dai.
Yes. Can I have a motion for B19 and B20?
So moved.
Second.
B19 is a motion to approve the 2018-19 student transportation services, and B20 is a motion to approve the renewal of the following transportation routes for the 2018-19 school year through the Essex Regional Educational Services Commission. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiChiara,
Yes.
Mr. Pervulovich,
Yes.
Mr. Shoner,
Aye.
Mrs. Dai.
Yes. From the Office of the Superintendent of Schools, under Personnel, give me just 1 second, because there's a lot. Can I have a motion for S1 through S20?
So moved.
Second.
S1 is a motion to approve the electronic submission of the Statement of Assurance of the District Mentoring Plan. S2 is a motion to approve Monica Fox, North End School Part-Time Secretary, at the rate listed below. S3 is a motion to accept the resignation of Pam Witchott, South End 4th grade teacher. S4 is a motion to retroactively approve Dylan Benton, substitute custodian, at the rate listed. S5 is a motion to retroactively approve David Mullen, summer custodian, at the rate listed. S6 is a motion to approve Maggie Stroh, substitute for the summer music program, at the rate listed. S7 is a motion to approve Michael Gencarelli to provide sound and lighting services to the outside vendors at an hourly rate listed. S8 is a motion to approve Robin Callie to process fall student athlete medical forms during the summer of 2018. S9 is a motion to approve Rosemary DeRose, lunch aide at North End School. S10 is a motion to reimburse Michael Slattery, summer custodian, for fingerprinting. S11 is a motion to approve upon the recommendation of the Negotiations Committee, the memorandum of agreement / collective bargaining agreement between the Cedar Grove Board of Education and the Cedar Grove Administrative Association for the term listed. S12 is a motion to accept the resignation of Christine Marconi, part-time ESL teacher. S13 is a motion to rescind the salary of Geraldine Terzo in the amount listed and revise it for the new amount listed. S14 is a motion to reemploy and set the salaries for the tenured administrative staff shown below for the 18-19 school year. S15 is a motion to approve the following Cedar Grove co-curricular stipend position. S16 is a motion to authorize attendance at the following events. S17 is a motion to approve the following leaves of absence. S18 is a motion to approve a 6th class for the following teachers, as listed below. S19 is a motion to appoint the following staff in accordance with the state emergent hiring start date procedures. And S20, be it resolved that the Cedar Grove Board of Education appoints Mr. Michael DeVita as the board secretary / school business administrator for the Cedar Grove School District for the period July 1st, 2018, June 30th, 2019, at the rate listed. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiChiara,
Yes.
Mr. Pervulovich,
Yes.
Mr. Shoner,
Aye.
Mrs. Dai.
Yes. Under contracts, can I have a motion for S21 through S24?
So moved.
Second.
S21 is a motion to approve the following parent transportation contract for the 18-19 school year for the student ID listed. S22 is a motion to approve the following parent transportation contract for the 18-19 school year for the ID listed. S23 is a motion to approve the following parent transportation contract for the 18-19 school year for the student listed. S24 is a motion to approve the following contracts for special education students. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiChiara,
Yes.
Mr. Pervulovich,
Yes.
Mr. Shoner,
Aye.
Mrs. Dai.
Yes. Can I have a motion for S25?
So moved.
Second.
S25 is a motion to approve the following coaches for the 18-19 school year. Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to open up this moment for the board to have a discussion on S25.
Mrs. Scanlon, I appreciate you coming up, introducing yourself to some of our new people. The reason I wanted to speak, the intention of the meeting originally was just that. For some of us who did not know you or your character or what you do for this town, as much as I appreciate the audience, as much as I appreciate everybody speaking on your behalf, I do want to express my view as a board member. I'm not sure what was originally, should I say, translated to you of the meaning or the reasoning for the meeting, but it was just that for you to introduce yourself to us, for us to ask where you're coming from some of the concerns we had heard from others.
Can you hold on for 1 second,
Yes,
Mr.
I'm
Pervulovich?
sorry.
Are you asking him questions?
No, honestly, I just want to make sure that everybody understands is, my point is that everybody was right away under the assumption that everyone was voting against Mr.
So,
Scanlon.
so that should not be addressed to
Okay.
Mr. Scanlon.
I
That should be
apologize.
you making a statement as a board member prior to the motion.
Okay, I apologize.
Okay, you
So-
don't apologize.
This is very
It's difficult-
uncomfortable,
it's
very
difficult. I
new
understand
and
it's
different,
difficult, but
so,
So the opportunity is for you to discuss with the board. This is a board discussion.
okay.
It's not a discussion between you and Mr. Scanlon or any of the folks out here, because they've come forward to make their comments, and they can again come forward at the end of the meeting to make more comments. So this is really, you're making your statement relative to the motion which is on the table, and when you're done, if nobody else has a statement to make or anything else to say, then the president will call the motion.
So really, in my, just, again, to you guys, the reason for the actual meeting was for us to hear from the other side, if you would. From the other things that we have heard from certain other parents, whether it's hearsay or
So I'm
not.
gonna stop you right there.
Okay,
You're going beyond what comments you should be making.
fair enough. I'll stop right there.
Yeah, the purpose is to discuss the motion on the table. It's not to go beyond
Beyond.
the motion.
Fair
because
enough. I will stop
You're
right
kind of
there.
wandering into the area of what the superintendent is legally empowered to do, which is to make personnel recommendations. So with all due
Fair
respect,
enough.
you gotta be careful.
Thank you. So I will then go back to you.
So just to be clear, so people just understand how the process works. So if the board wants to be able to have a discussion about someone, you have to rice them. For the life of me, I still don't know why it's called ricing. Can
Rice,
you explain?
I can.
I just used that term,
Rice is the name of a,
because I know that's what you
it's
say.
not what you eat. It's, Rice is the name of a petitioner in a lawsuit filed with the Commissioner
I
of
knew it was a
Education
legal
in
thing.
1978 or thereabouts, which says that if you're going to discuss an employee in closed session, that employee has the option of requesting that that discussion take place in public. But they call it a Rice notice because it's from the case. And since I'm probably a little bit older than a lot of people here, I remember the case. So that's the history of it. When you hear a Rice notice, it's the employee like Mr. Scanlon. He received a notice. He had the option of having it discussed, his matter discussed in executive session or discussed publicly. And the board doesn't have to discuss anything publicly. What he's saying is if you're going to have a discussion, I want to discuss publicly. This discussion here after with the motion is not quote-unquote the public discussion, if you will. It's just what occurs under Robert's rules in terms of making a motion, any discussion on the motion. It could be, I don't have enough information to vote on this, or it can be, I thought we voted on this last month, hypothetically, something like that. So that's really all this discussion is, and for every motion this board makes, you'll always hear the president say, is there any discussion? So that's a long answer to
No,
Rice.
but it's clear, thank you.
That's a lot of rice.
I appreciate that, so. So when somebody's
I'm not
right,
good
you
at
know what that
humor.
means now. All right.
Stick to law.
Any further discussion?
No.
No, not this time. Not this time around.
Are you sure?
Positive. Believe me.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiChiara,
Yes.
Mr. Pervulovich,
Yes to all, I abstain from voting for Mr. Scanlon.
Mr. Shoner,
Aye.
Mrs. Dai.
Yes. The meeting is open to the public for comments on items on or off the agenda. I'm gonna hit the gavel then. All right, seeing none. Okay, announcement of future meetings. August 21st. I know everybody wants to come back because this is so much fun, right? North End here, same time, same place. And then again, if you have time, September 4th, it's the beginning of the school year, same time, same place. I just want to thank everybody for coming out. And we tried to make it quick, and I really don't have anything to say except for thanking everybody to come out, and we appreciate it. So, can I have a motion to end the meeting?
So moved on that.
Second.
That's easy.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. DiChiara,
Yes.
Mr. Pervulovich.
Yes.
Mr. Shoner,
Yes.
Mrs. Dai.
Yes, the meeting is over. Have a good night, everyone.